Welcome everyone to the Lord of Mysteries novel summary series on AniMonolith. Then Klein went up from the basement and went to Roseanne's reception room. While he wanted to say goodbye to Roseanne, she suddenly said that Klein would need to come to work the following Monday, because this was an order from Captain Dunn Smith. Hearing that, Klein felt very relieved because he thought he would not be able to arrange a time to meet with the assistant professor about canceling the upcoming interview. Even though the assistant professor was not the one conducting the interview, Klein still felt the need to explain clearly to the kind teacher who was anxious to find a good job for him. So Klein decided to take a carriage to New University to meet the associate professor. Before leaving, Klein did not forget to ask Roseanne about which sequence the Church of the Evernight Goddess currently held, because he was extremely curious when he heard Dunn Smith vaguely mention this. Although Roseanne is an extremely friendly and talkative girl, she still seems hesitant about Klein's interest in becoming a Beyonder. With painful memories of her father, who was a Beyonder but had an accident and passed away, Roseanne was extremely agitated and used all kinds of ways to advise Klein to choose a normal life. Then, after being soothed by Klein, Roseanne calmed down and began to answer his questions. She said that currently in Tingen City there are a total of 30 Beyonders, not to mention the heretics and witches always lurking in the darkness. The starting sequence of our church goddess's complete sequence is Sleepless, Sequence 9, Sleepless. Sleepless ability is to be able to stay up all night, every morning only needing 3 to 4 hours of sleep to have enough energy. When night comes, Sleepless can reach maximum power in all aspects from physical to thinking and premonition. However, Roseanne also said that many times when encountering normal measures cannot solve the monster, so Sleepless also needs the support of demon-hunting bullets to destroy them. Roseanne then also mentioned 2 higher levels as Sequence 8 Midnight Poet, and 1 higher level is Sequence 7 Nightmare. When he heard about Nightmare, Klein immediately mentioned Dunn Smith's name. Seeing that, Roseanne was extremely surprised because she did not expect Klein to know the captain's abilities and rank. In response to Roseanne's question, Klein explained that he had previously had his captain use that ability to test. Then Klein asked Roseanne about Dunn Smith's abilities and learned that Dunn Smith was one of the 2 people of the Church of the Evernight Goddess in Sequence 7. Even Dunn Smith's ability was so good that if he were sent to larger dioceses like Backlund would still rank above deacons and cathedrals. After listening to Roseanne's words, Klein felt a great admiration for Dunn Smith. However, he also wanted to know more information. However, Roseanne's understanding of Sequence only stops here, because in the Nighthawks, only the captain is the one who knows more about the secrets of Sequence. Of course, Klein was extremely grateful when Roseanne explained in great detail what had just happened. However, he still wanted to find more information, because Sequence 9 Sleepless ability was not something he wanted to possess. What Klein wants to aim for is what kind of sequence can gather a lot of knowledge or what ability can help him return to Earth. In response to Klein's obvious curiosity, Roseanne, although not volunteering, still mentioned the Nighthawks employees with mysterious abilities that she could not remember. But Roseanne was impressed with old Neil because he had a lot of profound knowledge, as well as possessing many interesting types of magic. Then Roseanne remembered the title Sequence 9 and also the name of Neil's potion formula, Mystery Prior. Hearing the name Mystery Prior as well as the fact that Neil possessed many types of magic, Klein felt extremely excited because these things were similar to the goal he was aiming for. During this time, Roseanne suddenly revealed another equally shocking piece of information, which was that she remembered the name of Sequence 7 which was of the incomplete type. That is the spirit medium. As soon as he heard Klein, he immediately mentioned Daly's name, making Roseanne extremely surprised. To explain this, Klein said that he once met Daly and also witnessed her extraordinary abilities. Hearing that, Roseanne confessed that she would love to become a spirit medium like Daly. Then their conversation ended, and Klein said goodbye to Roseanne and left the Blackthorn Security Company. After leaving the company, Klein suddenly remembered Dunn Smith's suggestion that he needed to buy good clothes for himself. Then, after a moment of hesitation, Klein went to Wilker Clothings and Hats to choose the necessary items for the new job he had just received. The first item that Klein thought of was a cane because it not only helped him look elegant but could also be used as a defense weapon in an emergency. Because he wanted to save money, Klein chose the cheapest cane, but its quality is beyond criticism. However, while Klein was swinging the cane to test its quality, he accidentally scared the store employees because they thought Klein wanted to attack him with the cane. One of the 2 employees even approached the shotgun hanging on the wall, as if to say that if Klein dared to cause trouble, he would shoot immediately. This suddenly reminded Klein of the use of weapons in this world. The Lone Kingdom had a semi-regulated policy on firearms. To possess a firearm, one needed to apply for an all-purpose weapon permit or a hunter's license. Regardless of which type, one could still not have restricted military firearms such as repeaters, steam-pressured guns, or 6-barrel machine guns. An all-purpose weapon permit could be used to purchase or store any kind of civilian firearm, but earning the certificate was extremely troublesome. Even merchants of substantial standing might not be approved. A hunter's license was relatively easy. Even farmers in the suburbs could receive approval. However, the license was limited to hunting guns with restricted numbers. People with sizable assets would tend to apply for one to use it for self-defense in emergencies. When he realized that he had unintentionally frightened the other person, Klein quickly said that he liked this cane, which is why he took such extreme action. Then Klein quickly paid for the expensive accessory and left the store. After that, Klein took a horse-drawn carriage to roam around the city, something that the original Klein had never dared to think about before because it was too wasteful. Then when he finished walking, Klein returned home and the first thing he did was take out Welch's pistol to change the bullets in it. The 5 copper bullets left in the revolver were removed by Klein, who then replaced them with 5 demon hunting bullets. Klein still left one position of the pistol's revolver empty to prevent him from pulling the trigger by mistake. After finishing, Klein immediately stuffed the gun into the holster he was wearing on his upper arm. Then when Klein put on a vest and shirt, the gun's hidden location could no longer be detected. As soon as Klein finished work, Melissa suddenly entered the room. Fortunately, she did not notice her brother's unusual behavior. When he saw Melissa looking sad, Klein immediately asked to find out the reason. After hearing Melissa announce that Benson would return in a few days, Klein understood the reason. It turned out that Melissa was worried that the money in the house would not be enough for the whole family to be able to spend in the coming days. Knowing his sister's worries, Klein decided to give her the good news. That is, he found a new job with a super generous salary. This information surprised Melissa because she thought her brother would go for an interview and become a lecturer. In response to his sister's questions, Klein explained that his new job was to become a historical consultant for a security company specializing in collecting rare antiques. So the money problem will no longer be a burden, and Klein also expressed his intention to rent a better apartment for all 3 of them to live together. At the same time, Klein also decided to invite Benson to a grand meal at the restaurant to welcome him back from his business trip. After listening to Klein's explanation and drawing a vision of a bright future, Melissa did not seem as excited as Klein imagined. On the contrary, she tried to advise Klein to spend sparingly because she and Benson did not have any demands. Melissa even told the story of her neighbor Jenny's misfortune that left them living in poverty to warn Klein to save money. Faced with Melissa's worries, Klein was both touched and amused because the upcoming decision to spend money heavily would be difficult to make. However, Klein still intends to move to a better place. First, he understands the difficulty of having to live with many people from his time as a student on Earth. Second, Klein also has to perform the fortune-changing ritual as well as prepare for upcoming gatherings. So he wanted to minimize the risk of being discovered by many people. However, Klein did not explain these reasons clearly to Melissa. He only said that they would both wait for Benson to come home and then continue to consider. Then Melissa suddenly mentioned her best friend Selena Wood. Upon hearing this name, information about Selena's appearance and her family situation appeared in Klein's memory. Selena is Melissa's classmate, has a charming and radiant appearance, and Selena's parents are genuine followers of the Church of the Evernight Goddess. Therefore, the name Selena is also based on the name of the goddess. Then when Klein confirmed that he still remembered Selena, Melissa immediately told about Selena's brother Chris, who is a lawyer with a very high salary but still doesn't have enough money to prepare for the wedding with his fiancée. So Melissa hopes that Klein will think about saving money to get married. Of course, Klein deliberately avoided his sister's suggestion, because he only intended to find a way back to Earth. Klein then asked Melissa to go to the market to buy ingredients to cook a welcome party for Benson. When Melissa left, Klein also quickly left the house and took a carriage to Tingen University. Then Klein went to the office where the interview would take place and politely told the teacher in charge Harvin that he would like to withdraw from the interview. As soon as he heard Klein's announcement, a familiar voice rang out. It turned out that it was Associate Professor Cohen, who was his supervisor and the person who wrote the original Klein's recommendation letter when he was looking for a teaching job. Sitting next to Cohen is Mr. Isaac, who is also a highly qualified lecturer and often argues with Cohen, but in reality, the two have a very good relationship. Of course, both Cohen and Isaac were surprised by Klein's decision to withdraw from the interview. Then Klein explained that he had found a job as a specialist at a company specializing in finding and collecting antiques, with a very good salary. After Klein finished presenting, Associate Professor Cohen was not sad at all but congratulated Klein on finding a suitable job. While chatting, Mr. Isaac suddenly mentioned that he had read in the newspaper about the case of Welch and Naya who died due to being murdered by robbers. Of course, Klein knew that the police, or rather the Nighthawks, had hidden the truth inside. But Klein did not reveal any loopholes. He even pretended that he was also surprised by this horrifying information. Then Klein told Cohen and Isaac about how, before Welch's accident, Welch found a notebook of Antigonus in the Solomon Empire of Epic 4. When revealing these things, Klein was expecting a reaction. Cohen and Isaac responded to check if they knew any additional information. However, Klein was disappointed when Cohen and Isaac both said they were not impressed by the names. However, Isaac muttered that perhaps he had heard the same name before, but in the end, he could not remember anything else. Not giving up hope, Klein asked Cohen and Isaac that if they remembered any information or had any documents related to Epic 4, they should write to Klein to let them know. Of course, Cohen quickly agreed, because he was very satisfied with Klein's very subtle act of asking permission to withdraw from the interview. Upon receiving the consent of Cohen and Isaac, Klein immediately said that he was about to move house, so after finding a new place to live, he would send a letter so that the two of them could know the address. Then Klein did not forget to ask about the developments in Welch and Naya's case reported in the newspaper. When Isaac was about to answer, Cohen suddenly interrupted because both of them needed to attend an academic conference soon. So Cohen told Isaac to give Klein the newspaper about the case to read for himself. Then they both left together. Then Klein quickly left Tingen University. While walking on the street, he read a newspaper called Tingen Morning Newspaper. Klein immediately turned to the page on Welch's case notes. From the content written in the newspaper, Klein learned the following information. Firstly, Welch was found with many terrible injuries. Secondly, robbers had looted all of Welch's property. Thirdly, the robbers who murdered Welch and Naya were two people who accidentally discovered their illegal actions. Fourth, the police investigated the culprit and arrested the main perpetrator. Of course, Klein knows that all of the above information is used to shape public opinion, but in reality, the investigation of the case is still facing difficulties. At this moment, Klein suddenly felt a chill as if someone was staring at him. This feeling is not the first time it has appeared, because in the original Klein's unclear memory, this situation has also appeared many times. However, this time was the time when Klein felt the most clearly that someone was watching him. It seemed that the ritual to change his luck had affected his sixth sense, making him feel more acutely. Trying to stay calm, Klein showed that he was looking at the surroundings to find the opponent's whereabouts. However, Klein was unable to find anyone, even though he could sense the location of that terrifying stare. Then Klein thought about returning home, but he was worried that the other person might be a bad guy, so he immediately came up with another plan. That is thanks to the support of Nighthawks or colleagues from the security company Blackthorn.